Brent, Abel here, WebTennis. Let's go through this point with Ken Koch on this side serving and Andrew Stanley on the other side. The 2011 Pacific Coast. This was a men's 55 singles match. And what we were looking at is, I'll just run it through real time here to start, and then I'm going to stop it right at the point where we had it before, which is where Ken serves the body, plays the approach, and now really what we were asking, or what I was asking you, what do you think Andrew over here needs to do with this shot? And you know, we had a lot of different responses, and there's really, you know, I think the one thing we want to also mention here is that this is early in the match, and I wouldn't say it's, you know, a giveaway type of situation, but it's certainly a point when it's early in the match that you can show your opponent, Andrew can show Ken a shot that somewhere down the road, maybe the end of the first set or even at the end of the match, where he wants Ken thinking, hey, this shot's a possibility, which might open up his bread and butter. You know, I don't know what Andrew's true bread and butter on this shot might be, but whatever shot he hits here, he might be thinking, this is something I want to use for the future by setting him up. One of the shots that we had was for Andrew to take this ball up the line. And the reason for that is because it looks like Ken, even though he's moving right towards the ball here, he's probably going to veer slightly off to the left to this direction, you know, to really be able to cover this cross court. You know, the other shot that we talked about is a lob that goes over Ken's backhand. And even though this is going to be the longest part of the court over here going cross court, you're still going over the forehand side, and the risk is just too much. I really would rather have you, if you're going to show a lob, always go over the backhand side, which is going to be up and obviously over back in here. The other thing that we mentioned about with this lob is you don't always, if you go over the backhand side, need to make it completely deep where it's something that Ken can't, where Ken can't get to it. In fact, you almost want it sort of high enough and maybe where it lands, or it could land here if Ken let it go, but Ken realizes that, you know what, I've got to take this with a high backhand, and if I don't, it's just going to bounce. It's going to bounce past me. So sometimes on this lob, if you truly get it over the backhand, it doesn't need to be that deep to really put the guy in trouble. You know, the other shot that was talked a lot about was a ball that Andrew takes it and drives it straight here at the body. That's always a good shot, especially early on in the match. Maybe you've never played this guy before, and you know you want to see how he reacts to that shot. Another shot was where you go ahead and you play a drive cross court. If that's your bread and butter and you want to set that up early, that's fine. Even if it's not your bread and butter, you know, that's definitely a ball that you can play here. It really kind of depends on what kind of backhand you've got. And then the other one was to sort of play it here low. And you know, this is really a shot that I like because it's really thought of as a two-part shot. And the reason it's a two-part shot is that your opponent is probably going to be able to catch up to it, but if they do catch up to it, now let's kind of critique this a little bit more. One thing I would tell Ken here is that his split step is going to be too late. So the ball's left Andrew's racket. We can now see it's going cross court. And I think that really what I would rather see is that the split step for Ken is going to happen right about here. I mean, I'd like to see his feet down in the court. And I know the risk is, okay, well, Ken's, you know, kind of in a vulnerable position here, but really the split step is based on when and not where. You need to split sooner if the ball is further away from you. I mean, if the ball is closer to you. So if Ken's back here in the baseline, he can split step at this timing right here where the ball is now leaving Andrew's racket, and here comes Ken, and it's too late. So again, what I would rather see is right about here that Ken's feet are down and he's ready to react. let's talk about the shot that Andrew hits here. He's inside the baseline, and he's got a ball that's up relatively high, right? I mean, this is not a super deep approach. It really kind of lands, a few feet past the service line. And let's go back and look at Ken's technique on this. He hits this pretty well, but it's not. You can see that the racket face really kind of goes from high down low and really sort of takes something off the ball. Early in the match, maybe he's not totally comfortable with his shot yet, and he's thinking, you know what, I really want to make sure I make it, and so he gives the ball a little loft, a little height, and that's why this ball lands a little bit short and kind of bounces up. Now here's Andrew's shot. He takes it with sort of a flat grip and just rolls it cross court. Now the next thing I want you to look at is I want you to look at his balance. If Andrew can't be on balance with this shot, meaning that if he'd started further in the middle, and which he didn't, because he plays his return, and that's as far as he goes. He doesn't really straddle the middle. He really stays on that ad side of the court. So he gets here in time, and his balance as he plays this shot is not moving another step or two towards the alley. So he knows he can play this shot cross court and be ready to cover up, and there he goes. And so now he's already moving over to cover the shot by Ken. And so Ken misses the volley. He gets stretched out. And let's look at one more thing here that I want you to think about if you're Ken Koch, is that the first thing that happens here is you split late, and when you split late, you don't get as early a start over there. So your first reaction is to reach too much with the arm. And so you get the arm straightened out. And really what I'd like to see Ken do here, this is something that you can work on, is that right about here, get deep into your split so that when you do move over here to your left, is that you can keep the arm to your side so that when you get there, you're not stretched out. I know we're talking about nanoseconds, but the reality here is that if you get split a little bit sooner, you can react a little bit sooner, and you can move your feet over to that ball so that when you make contact with this, you're not stretched out. You've got more of a natural kind of bent elbow kind of volley position, and there's a lot more that you can do with a shot from that position. And this is not really, the classic volley technique when you're stretched out. And I know sometimes that's just the way it's going to be. You're going to get stretched out. But if you can get over there with good footwork, keep this elbow bent, now what you can do is you can play a normal volley to this corner. You might be able to play it back here because you're probably going to be on balance. There's no way Ken can go back over here with this shot, because even if he gets it over there, his footwork's going to keep him moving in this direction. The other thing is, if you get here on balance, you're really set up now for a drop volley here, or maybe even a drop volley over there. So blah, blah, blah. That's the answer to this question. Love to get your feedback right below in the comments area. Let me know, and have a great day.